Hello. All right, everybody, an absolutely enthralling super sport race unfolding here. An absolutely great show, but more to come. It is the big bikes. Medallia Superbike coming up. It's going to be 12 laps around this 4-mile track. An absolutely great show. The speeds we've seen already are absolutely enthralling. This is going to take it to yet another level, and we are closing in on the start of Medallia Superbikes. And so now, for the brief opening ceremonies, let's head down to Lorette Nickel to set the stage for Medallia Superbikes. Lorette?
The incredible MotoAmerica has presented us with new track records, incredible racing, and now we celebrate the United States of America. If you're able, please rise, remove your hats for our national anthem sung by Mark and Don Miracle. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
How about that for the rendition of our national anthem? Absolutely beautiful. It is a fitting launch into a glorious day here in America's heartland in the Midwest as we are ready to go. Medallia Superbikes, race number 2, and it's unfolding at MotoAmerica.
Beaubier has returned, and in a big way.
You can see here from our Lucas Oil helicopter the speed that BMW has, Greg.
The 5-time champion has taken over the top spot on the leaderboard with yesterday's come-from-behind win and an early exit from the number 1 plate and now former points leader Jake Gagne.
That is definitely a tough blow for him and his championship.
This title chase has been thrown on its ear. Can Beaubier extend his lead, or will Gagne stop the bleeding? It's all to play for right now. It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. The round is MotoAmerica Superbikes at MotoAmerica. We're in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for our third of 2023 from the famed MotoAmerica circuit, where thousands have shown up under perfect weather conditions to witness race number 2 of Medallia Superbikes. And a gentle breeze blows, but track conditions are perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Greg White, standing alongside 2-time world champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, if I had said to you a couple months ago, after 5 races here in Medallia Superbike, Cameron Beaubier would be leading this championship, what would you have called me?
I don't know. I probably would have been in the same boat as you, I think. I think we all knew Cameron was going to win. We did know that. That was going to happen. I don't know if we all thought it was going to happen in Atlanta. And then yesterday, the way things have unfolded here at MotoAmerica, it's been pretty interesting.
Well, let's take a look at what happened in race number 1, because it was quite spectacular.
It was. Josh Herring got to the front here in turn 3, and you could see Beaubier just got out onto the dirty stuff a little bit, didn't want to tip it in, but he started this incredible charge that was going to be breaking the lap record. As you can see, he drew up to the back of his teammate PJ Jacobsen, and then he went after Herrin. Both those guys in second, third had issues of their own. The guy on the 6 had no problems at all, and then we saw this. Zach Butler blew up coming up the front straightaway with 3/4 of the race done. That was it for that.
So for Cameron Beaubier, Jason, this is what was incredible. If you look at lap 3, 4, 7, 8, I mean, 09s, 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 just kept pushing the pace.
Incredible. And talking with Cam a little bit this morning, he said that he still felt like the tires were underneath him. He felt good. He felt like he could run that pace all the way to the end of the race, which I think is a great thing for him and his confidence, because these bikes, when they're coming here for the first time, they were here testing. Weather was completely different. They weren't really sure what to get, but Dunlop's done a nice job of putting tires under these guys that are breaking lap records even late into races.
We could see more lap records broken. PJ Jacobsen in morning warm-up went in 08, the first time ever by a motorcycle. However, let's welcome the third member of our broadcast team to the broadcast. It's Hannah Lopa. She's down on the grid right now. Hey, Hannah.
Greg, as you mentioned, Cameron Beaubier really hoping to keep yesterday's momentum rolling. He knows our pole sitter is going to be fast, as well as his teammate PJ Jacobsen, but a line of Yamahas behind him hoping to be back in the fight. Cam, with that in mind, what is the plan for this race?
Yeah, I just want to get off to a good start. We know we got some legs on the straightaway with this BMW right now. So, yeah, just going to go and kind of slot in, see what the race brings to us. I know PJ and Herrin made a big step this morning. They were going really fast, and we didn't necessarily find a step this morning. So, yeah, I think my team gave me a great bike, and yeah, see how the race goes, and yeah. We'll see after the race.
Best of luck out there, Cam. One more rider I want to check in with just on the grid here. As I'm making my way past this row of Yamahas, both of the progressive, fresh, and lean Yamahas got some laps in this morning and hopefully some valuable data for today's race. But Richie Escalante followed up his career best of 4th with another 4th yesterday. Richie, what is it going to take for you to make that next step? What does this race look like for you to get a podium?
Yes, for sure I need to start very good. I try to push on turn 1 and especially on turn 3 exit to stay on the draft with the front group. And after that, I believe on my race pace. So yeah, I try my best and I hope to finish on the podium. You know, another top 5 will be good. Thank you.
Those opening laps will be crucial for Richie Escalante if he has any hope of getting on the box today.
They certainly will, but they are making massive improvements over on that team.
Yeah, and this rider is doing a tremendous job, is Richie Escalante. It's great to see him starting to get really one with that bike. And again, M4 X-Star Suzuki crew, so experienced. They're really helping him getting going. Here's a good look at our track, Greg. 4 miles, best track in the country. Go down into turn 1. You heard Richie say he wants to get out of turn 3 there as best he can to get down that back straightaway with these guys. Turn 5 is the real tell. That can make or break your race on the first lap. You run wide there, you have problems. Then we're going to run through 6, 7, 8. A lot of fans along the fences there into the big famous carousel here at Road America. It goes on forever and down a steep hill into that chicane. Then back down towards Canada Corner, up into a blind turn 13. Get a good run out of 14 and hold on up that front straight.
And Jason, we can't wait to see how this race is going to go. But what about the number 1 plate? What's he got planned? He wants to hold on to these first couple laps and see how it's all going to play out.
All right, as we close in on the start of this Medallia Superbike Race 2 of this double-header weekend, good look there at the number 1. And obviously carrying that number 1 plate, 2-time champion, was leading in the points coming in here. Starts this race now 4 points back after getting absolutely no points in that first race with another mechanical issue. But look to have some pace this morning. This is a big race for Jake Gagne.
Big race for him. I mean, and this morning's warm-up was huge. Got to put in a lot of laps and was only not too far off that little group in front of him. So I think, had to learn so much this morning. It was really his first real track time was in the morning warm-up, which is only 15 minutes long, and got going pretty quick. He's missed a lot of time this week, and I mean we've talked about that a lot. So, does he have the pace to win? I'm not sure. I think he can run there. I think the BMW might be a little bit stronger here with the straightaways being longer. he needs to just make sure he collects some good points today.
And even if, the other thing, even if he might have the pace to win, they don't have right now a lot of knowledge about this track, the conditions, and that Dunlop tire. That's where he may be at a little bit of a deficit. And, of course, for his teammate, Cameron Peterson, still dealing with that wrist. Looked like it didn't bother him that much in yesterday's race. But obviously Cam dealing with some issues out there as well. And the big thing is P.J. Jacobson's warm-up pace this morning. That looked like he threw the gauntlet down and said, I'm here.
Yeah, you could tell in yesterday's race afterwards, PJ was a little dejected with second place. I think with the pace that he showed all weekend so far, he expected to be there for the battle for the win. And in the race, I think he was struggling with some front brake issues a little bit. So I think today he's coming out motivated. He wants to get a win. His teammate's winning, and now he's ready to be the next guy on that team to win.
What do you think about Herron's opportunity here? I mean, he was so quick early, and then he developed some real issues with the front tire that he said they hadn't seen all weekend long. He's going to have to fight through that today.
He is, but they made some changes, I'm sure, probably a different tire or setup changes. So I expect if he doesn't have that front tire issue or front end issue as the race goes on, I expect him to be at the front. He showed good pace as well.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Well, that's all going to play out here in just a couple of minutes at MotoAmerica.
Medallia Superbike coverage is brought to you by Medallia, the pioneer in customer and employee experience. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be.
If you're looking for one of the most beautiful places in the United States in June, it's here, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. MotoAmerica, a freshly paved racetrack, which completely changed the characteristics as we are getting ready for Medallia Superbike race number 2. Under a hazy but sunny day. And Josh Herron looks like he's leading us on our warm-up lap. Jason, he's also the pole sitter at an 09.11.
Yep, then we got Cam Beaubier and P.J. Jacobson, whom Greg mentioned to say went 8.7 this morning in practice. Schultz, Peterson, and Gagne looking for some magic there out of the Yamahas from row 2. Escalante, Tony Elias, and Corey Alexander. Then we have Dave Anthony, Hayden Gillum, and Ashton Yates. Ashton a little bit banged up, but said he's okay to go for this one. Benjamin Smith, Max Flinders, and Danilo Lewis. Then we have Nolan Lampkin, who I don't think is out there, Greg, but we'll have to check. Giannato and Gabriel Da Silva. Then we have Zach Schumacher, Zach Butler, and Manny Segura.
What a talented field of racers we have here in Medallia Superbike. And a lot of people wanting to do everything they can to make the grid in this one, because what an iconic racetrack we have. 12 laps scheduled for race number 2 in Medallia Superbike. We know we went a little short yesterday, and some of the teams were a little concerned about tire wear. I can tell you that the top 2 rows are all on the same compound. That's the Dunlop R7 front and Dunlop R8 rear. Bikes are in gear, revs are up. There goes the lights, they're out, and we're rolling.
Matthew Schultz got a great jump from the second row, Greg, on the 11 there.
Here goes Cam Beaubier ripping through the gears, heading into turn number 1, but it's got to be Josh Herron on the outside. And yesterday, Herron had such a jackrabbit start, but he also had a different compound front tire, a little softer, and he had a ton of confidence in it. But it's the number 2 on the Warhorse HSBK racing machine that leads the way.
What about Cam Peterson running 3rd, Schultz 4th? P.J. Jacobson doesn't quite get off the line the way he wanted. He's going to be relying on that BMW horsepower as they head down towards turn 5. P.J.'s going to take 2 spots, go from 5th to possibly 3rd.
Beaubier took the lead for a moment, but Herron's so deep on the brakes, but Beaubier's got position, so we'll hold on to it, and Herron has to just let off for just a moment.
Matthew Schultz, big mistake down at turn 5, couldn't get the bike slowed. He's going to lose about 3 or 4 spots.
Beaubier wide, Herron takes advantage of that, so now the number 2 takes over the spot.
Love what I see from Cam Peterson. He's going to try to attack Beaubier as they go down. Did you see Gagne? He attacks both of them. The number 1 goes from 4th to 2nd.
On their back foot all weekend long and using the morning session to try to take advantage of the most setup they can. Jake Gagne riding pure talent with a great setup, able to slot himself into second place.
And look how good that R1 went through the carousel there. He was able to draw up a little bit on Herrin and pull away from the BMW of Beaubier through the middle of the carousel. Now they're going to shoot out of the chicane and head down to Canada Corner. Gagne on a run, went 10.1 this morning, fast as he had been all weekend.
Yamahas have been down on top speed. Some of that might be due to setup, but we're getting ready to see exactly how the legs can stretch on the fresh and lean progressive Yamaha as we get closer and closer to that front straightaway. Josh Herrin having it his way though on this first lap. He had to fight for it, but look how close Gagne's able to close up on him. Final corner, up the hill we go, turn 14. Herrin's going to pull the trigger. Let's see it.
And this is where you'll see the power of Cam Beaubier. He will try to draw up on the back of Gagne and draft him before they get to that finish line. Look at the BMW in third on your screen. He is doing everything he can. He will go by Gagne, but will he get there before the braking zone? He does. So Cam Beaubier slots himself into second. Gagne now will have to try to run with these guys down the back straightaway and be in the draft of that 6. Also, PJ Jacobson goes by Cam Peterson, so he slots himself into 4th.
188 miles an hour through the trap for Cameron Beaubier, but it's Gagne who goes 2:13.85 out of the box. And so Cameron Beaubier is exactly where he wants to be, in second spot, and now he's got a carrot in front of him. But it's Jake Gagne. Boy, a big improvement in terms of acceleration and getting to top speed for the Yamaha. It's always not just a matter of the motor itself and how much horsepower it has. It's a matter of how you get that power to the ground. And you can see that Beaubier already starting to make inroads on Herrin ever so slightly.
Yeah, he's just going to keep chipping away at it. He knows. He said it in our interview with Hannah just now. He wants to take advantage of what this BMW can do. And the way you do that is by not messing up in the places that are easily to be messed up in. Some of these slow corners here. I also like the way that BMW rolls through this corner here. But Herrin looks extremely fast through the carousel. Look at the gap. He is going to be able to pull on these guys by the time they come out of here. And let's not forget that Ducati is not slow, Greg. It is also very fast.
Yeah, it is an absolute weapon. It's a missile. And now Herrin, with the front tire change, feels like he's got more grip underneath him to go the distance. So it's Warhorse HSBK Racing's Josh Herrin on the number 2. Then you have Tytler Cycles BMW. That's Cameron Beaubier on the 6. Fresh and Lean Progressive Yamaha. The R1 of Jake Gagne in 3rd spot. PJ Jacobson, who smashed the track records face-off this morning. He's in 4th place. Cameron Peterson also there, the injured Cam Peterson. Escalante Skoltz, Tony Elias in 8th, Corey Alexander 9th, and Ashton Yates, your top 10.
You got to love what you're seeing out of Jake Gagne right now. He's got the fewest laps of any of these guys up at the front right now, and he is just gritting his teeth, holding on. He goes 2:10.3. The second guy on our screen there goes 2:09.6, Greg. So we're back into the 9s again, and he's able to bridge that gap to the back of the Ducati of Herrin. Now we'll see if he's able to go by him when they come down to turn 3 here. Hannah?
Talking with Josh Herrin yesterday, he was on that R5, the softer compound front, and he told me he tried the R7, the harder compound, in the warm-up, and it was much better for him, and the lap times show that he went a half a second faster in warm-up than he did all day yesterday. But he's also still getting to know this bike. I think we've seen him have so much success that we've forgotten that they're still learning. You know, he's still working with a new crew and a new team in order to improve this motorcycle and get that first win.
And Cameron Beaubier goes into the lead down in turn number 5.
That was just so classy.
It was a straight line.
Wasn't it great?
Yeah,
I mean, he just
straight line pass.
He had the bike slowed down behind Herrin and then just thought, I'm going to let off the brakes a little bit, get down to the apex, slow the bike down, Greg. That was really impressive.
And Herrin's going to do it back to him right now. So he boxed Cameron Beaubier, and this is what we expect from Josh Herrin. He never, ever gives up, and he pushes constantly. Both these riders getting after it. And if Cameron Beaubier learned anything in his 2 years at the World Championship in Moto 2, is that he likes to fight back as well.
Yeah, and you think here, you look at it again, he pulls that small gap. PJ Jacobson has also made the pass on Gagne, and Cam Peterson there just right behind his teammates. So the battle for 1st and 2nd has broke away a little bit from that battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As you see here, Beaubier goes down the back straightaway just behind the Ducati. He brakes. Doesn't look like he's going to do anything. And right about now, he decides, I'm going down the inside. I'm going to pull a little bit of lever on here to get the bike slowed down at the apex and drive out. And Herrin does a good job getting out of turn 7, lines himself up on the left-hand side of Beaubier, and does the exact same thing, Greg. Just kind of slides underneath Beaubier into turn 8.
And that's where we are right now as Josh Herrin leads onto the front straightaway. Beaubier behind him in his draft. What acceleration from that Ducati. Panigale V4R. And as they come across the stripe, it's a 10 flat for Herrin and a 10-7 for Herrin and a 10-6 with PJ Jacobsen going 10-1. And it looks like the 78 is down.
Ben Smith, is it? Yeah.
Benjamin Smith. I was going to mention Benjamin Smith because he was well placed right there in the top 10 position. So unfortunately, Benjamin Smith on the CW Moto Yamaha R1 had an incident. And Jay, that's one of the riders we look at as the future.
Got a red flag. Or no, Beaubier's got
a problem. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Beaubier's got a problem. So for Cameron Beaubier, he pulls off the racetrack. And now Jake Gagne, all eyes are on him and his finishing position because this could really change the championship again. So Beaubier on the Tytler Cycle BMW is off the racing circuit, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to continue. And now that leaves Josh Herrin all by himself. However, there's a hard-charging PJ Jacobsen on the Tytler Cycle BMW. He is rolling right now just in front of a pair of freshly progressive Yamahas of Gagne and Peterson.
Yep, right now this is Josh Herrin's chance. He doesn't know yet probably that Beaubier had a problem unless, because it looked like Beaubier ran wide in turn 1, so Herrin had the lead when they came out of turn 3. He might come across right now and see +1 on his board and think what's actually going on back there. So PJ has clear track in front of him. These two have done a really nice job of getting themselves separated from people behind them. But boy, what a shakeup in the championship now. If Gagne can somehow continue to chip away, if this race goes the distance too, Greg, he might be able to do some stuff at the end of this race with the first or second place riders.
All right, so now we're getting back to this battle, and leading that is the number 11 of Matthew Skoltz, Westby Racing, and then there's Richie Escalante on the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. And Jay, who's that behind him?
I love it. Tony Elias. He's been struggling, Greg. I've been having some really great talks with Tony, and he has been struggling, and this is a great sign. They've been working so hard to get Tony comfortable on that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki, and the fact that he's now running in line with his teammate, that's also going to give former world champ, Moto 2 champ, Tony Elias a little boost in confidence, and that's exactly what he's been looking for.
Tony Elias back in action this season after a short retirement. Of course, Tony Elias here in MotoAmerica sitting on 32 wins in Medallia Superbike all time. Jake Gagne, last time he won last weekend, tied Tony Elias. So they're tied at 32 apiece, with Cameron Beaubier sitting on 56 Superbike wins in his career. But Jay, PJ Jacobsen out front is really starting to set the world on fire. Took another 0.3 of a second out of Josh Herrin.
He took 0.3 on that lap, didn't he, Greg? And he's taken another 0.3 in the first split. So PJ Jacobsen, who was just a little under a second back, right now is probably going to be under half a second behind the leaders. We're looking at this battle still between Matthew Skoltz, Tony Elias, and Richie Escalante. This is the battle for 5th. So up in front, though, you know, things could be getting a little bit closer between the leaders.
I really like what I'm seeing from Tony Elias. The jump that he has made this weekend, Jason, he definitely was struggling with the setup of the motorcycle and definitely confidence. I mean, we were seeing him earlier just turning early into corners, and Matthew Skoltz.
Yep.
What, he didn't just lose the front?
Looked like he lost the front there. Probably lost the front going in and saved it. And, you know, Tony's going to see that, and that's going to be kind of blood in the water, if you know what I mean. He's going to be trying to go after Skoltz. I'm a little concerned right now about Richie Escalante. We saw him with tremendous pace this morning also. I believe he got into the 210s, did Escalante, and these two guys have dropped him really, really easily here. So look at the 54 coming at you right now. He's got Corey Alexander just behind him, but Escalante, I think, has some sort of issue.
Corey Alexander on the Tytler Cycle BMW in his rookie season, I guess you could say, on a full-blown superbike. Last year's spec superbike, Tytler Cycle. So Corey Alexander learning the ropes in the class. Of course, he's competed with these riders before but more so on a stock 1000 machine. Lucas Oil helicopter overhead shots. A battle for third between Jake Gagne, Cam Peterson on the Fresh and Lean Progressive Yamahas. And there's not a lot between it, with Cameron Peterson and Jake Gagne getting just about the same laps. Cam Peterson had an early exit on Friday, didn't quite get all the session that he needed. Gagne, of course, yesterday in the race didn't get all the laps that he wanted, and this team continues to chip away at it.
And you really got to think here, Cam Peterson is such a team player. You know, yesterday when we had our interview with him after the race, first thing he said is he felt really bad for Jake Gagne going out of the race, how he didn't deserve that. As you can see the leaders just up the road in front of him. I don't know what Cam's exactly going to do with Gagne. It would have to be a really clean pass. He realizes it's been a tough weekend for that team, and any points that they can salvage back to help Gagne get himself back into that points lead is going to be important. Now for these two guys in front, these two guys here are now starting to get closer together. As you can see, PJ is starting to close up onto the back of Herrin, Hannah.
He is, Jay, and yesterday he told me he had a bit of a brake problem throughout the race yesterday, so his result was that much more impressive for him having to ride around it. He said it felt resolved in practice, and he's feeling comfortable overall after some front end changes. He did use a new rear and a used front for his fast lap this morning, so he knows he's got the pace, but he knows he needs to get around Herrin as quickly as he possibly can in this race because Herrin is so strong at the end of the race. But talking to Scott Jensen, he said that's one of PJ's strengths as well.
No question, Hannah. You know, I talked to PJ about it too, and I kind of made a little joke about the brake incident when he went underneath Herrin, and he says, Jay, he goes, I didn't know what else to do. He's like, I was trying to figure out a place that I could pass him, and it felt like the right spot. He goes, I knew I didn't have the best brakes, though, and he went in there, and he said this morning, to your point, Hannah, he said the brakes were so much better this morning when he went out for warm-up. That's really what helped him get down to the 8 that he got down to. Now, same thing for Herrin with that front tire. We saw him yesterday. He complained a little bit about it. Didn't have the feel that he needed, wasn't throwing anybody under the bus. He's just gone to another compound, Greg, that's going to make it easier for him. So both those guys had significant changes overnight that were simple. They had to fix brakes on one and they had to go to another compound on another, but you can see what they're doing out front. These two guys are staying super consistent behind. The difference in lap times though, Greg, 2:96 and 2:97 for the leaders. These guys are both in the 10s.
That is the difference, and the question is, what's Cameron Peterson going to do if he gets a shot at his teammate? Right now, Jake Gagne is in third place. That pays 16 points in the championship. He was 4 down when we started the day. Cameron Beaubier is out of this race. He was charging towards the front, and then he had to pull his motorcycle off to the side of the track. So obviously, Jason, if Jake Gagne can stay in this position, he would regain the championship lead, and he would have a 12-point advantage over Cameron Beaubier.
Well, I felt like Cameron had an opportunity to possibly go past Jake on the front straightaway, just driving by, and he chose not to. As you look back a little further, Tony Elias has in fact gone through to Matthew Schultz. So this is the best we've seen out of the former Superbike champion, Tony Elias, as he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable. Looking at the lap times for him, a 2:10.9. It's by far and away the quickest he went. Talked to him a couple days ago on Friday. He said he did a 2:13.9, and he says, Jay, I felt like my life was on the limit. And this team has gone and done some stuff to that motorcycle to make him much more comfortable, and he's dropped some 3 seconds in the last day and a half or so.
Let's look at the riding of the number 2 bike, Josh Herrin, as he goes through the chicane. Jason, what a performance he's putting on, and he's doing it under pressure from PJ Jacobsen.
It's hard to lead races here. I'm not lying. It's really difficult, especially when you don't have anybody in front of you. You're pushing your own wind. It's such a long lap that you don't get to see your lap board, your pit board, that the crew are hanging over the wall for you for a full lap. So, for 4 miles rather. So it's a long, long lap. Herrin's doing a nice job of controlling the pace. Still in the 2:09s. That's awfully fast. 2:09.699 last time through for Herrin.
The fastest lap of the race was a 2:09.620 set on lap 2 by Cameron Beaubier, with Herrin just doing a couple hundredths of a second under that. To the stripe we go. After this, there's going to be 5 to go. That's a pit board. If you're new to Medallia Superbike Racing, that is what Jason was talking about. The only bit of information the rider gets from the crew. There's no on-bike communication, no headsets, no communication in terms of radios or anything, so they get that information. So unless you look behind you, which isn't rarely recommended, you want to keep all eyes forward. That's the bit that you get. So last time by, 2:09.940. PJ was able to take a 10th out. But Jay, the question I have for you is it important for PJ Jacobsen to hurry up and try to catch Josh Herrin and pass him, or is this kind of a waiting game for him as we look at the Lucas Oil helicopter shot?
A little bit. I still think he's trying to chip away at this gap as PJ. He's come from a little bit further back than he is now. I can definitely see strengths in both of these bikes between the two of them, but I think the BMW still looked, as they came out of turn 3 down to turn 5, it still looked a little bit quicker than that Ducati. And both these guys are not big guys, but PJ definitely is smaller in stature. And so when he is able to start getting in that draft, I expect him to try to do something with Herrin. The thing is this year with Josh that's really impressed me is how much better he seems to have gotten on the brakes. He seems to feel really comfortable on the brakes on this Ducati, and that's why yesterday with the little bit softer compound, he could have been overusing that front tire ever so slightly. So if he's able to have a front tire that stays underneath him for the majority of this race, he'll be a tough guy to pass in the braking zones.
Hannah, what do you know about Cameron Beaubier's situation?
Cameron Beaubier has made his way back to the pit lane, feeling a bit disappointed, if you will, and I asked him what he was feeling out there, and he said the bike locked up and it just wasn't possible for him to continue circulating.
That is just such a huge, huge blow, and I know leading this championship and the fact that we have a Jake Gagne who's not at 100%, it would have been a bigger opportunity for him to spread the gap, but it is what it is right now, and this is racing. And Jay, this is our 6th race of the year for 20 races that we have on schedule here in MotoAmerica Medallia Superbike. So there'll be a lot more opportunities to score points for Cameron Beaubier. Now 4 to go for Josh Herrin, 209.8 to 209.9. Herrin to PJ Jacobsen. Jake Gagne in the 10.7, and Cam Peterson just goes the fastest lap of his race for him, a 2:10.3, the 45. The fresh and lean progressive Yamaha rider. Don't forget Cameron Peterson also riding with an injured right wrist that he injured a Monday test after Barber just a couple of weeks ago. And Jay, Cameron Peterson told me that it was a little bit sore when he woke up this morning after racing yesterday.
Yep, and he re-aggravated an injury that was already there from years ago, Greg. He does have a pin there that had just got moved a little bit, but he said to me, he said, Jay, it really is day to day, is not doing anything by him riding. In other words, it hurts him a little bit, but it's not doing any more damage. So the 2 weeks rest that we're going to get before the Ridge is really going to help Cam as far as that goes. And right now, I feel like he's just kind of playing shotgun to his teammate at the moment. Cam, unfortunately, has had a little bit of bad luck this year. We saw him have a motor go at Atlanta, and then a slide off as these two guys now are getting closer again. And Matthew Schultz has not let Tony Elias just walk away. They did 2:10.8 last time through and a 2:10.9. So both of these riders are also finding themselves in the 2:10 range as well. And
in unknown territory as we get this deep into the race. You know, what are the tires going to do, and how much tire does Tony Elias have underneath him on the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki or Westby Racing's Matthew Schultz? There go the two teammates on the fresh and lean progressive Yamahas in 3rd and 4th position, and that gap is about 5.5 seconds back to the Elias-Schultz battle. Still up front, Josh Herrin leads by 0.6 of a second over PJ Jacobsen. And Jason, of the front runners in the field, you know, to keep in mind, of the top 6, there's only one rider in the top 6 that hasn't won a Medallia Superbike race yet in their career, and that's the 99 of Jacobsen as Schultz goes up the inside of Tony Elias. That's a nice pass. He'll take that position for the moment, and now it's Yamaha versus Suzuki on the straightaway.
Yeah, I don't think Tony's going to be too worried about that. I think he's going to be able to draft back past Matthew, or at least hang in there with him down these big long straightaways. And you know, Matthew just trying to see if he can make a pass work.
Hannah?
Matthew Schultz told me that his corner entry for rear grip is still a bit of a work in progress, so he's trying to adapt his riding style. You know, he likes to kind of back it into the corners to get the bike turned for lack of confidence to make up for that on the edge of the tire at times. So with, you know, being in that unknown territory, like you said, as the tires wear on with 3 laps to go, we'll see if that affects him.
I think it's one of the greatest things about motorcycle road racing, Jason, is that the rider or the pilot can do so much to affect the way the bike works all during the course of the race as it changes characteristics. And that's both the fuel load as it drops, the bike can handle and feel differently, as well as tire wear.
That's right. No, there's no question about that. Now, back up to the front. I noticed in the last lap, the third split, Herrin pulled half a second on PJ. I'm not sure if PJ had a problem. And then I say that, and I look at the first split here. PJ actually closed in at a 30.3 to 30.1. So he gained a couple tenths back, but this is starting to grow at the front. Again, second sector, almost a full half second for Herrin. He pulls over PJ Jacobsen, and you know, it breaks a rider's will, especially, Greg, when you have 2.5 laps to go and you start seeing the guy just getting away from you in certain spots. So could PJ be struggling with something underneath him as far as grip goes, because Herrin has continued to put his head down, and we'll get our sector 3 times come up here in a minute, and they are about the same in sector 3 as the two Progressive Yamahas here. Progressive Attack Yamaha team continue to circulate. These guys are in the 210s as well, but back up the front right now, Herrin's doing everything he can to break the will of PJ Jacobsen with 2 to go.
A good look at the gap from 4th place. There's 5th place rider Matthew Skoltz on the Westby Racing Yamaha, just breaking away from Tony Elias. Here we go. Wow. And Jason, looking at our timing and scoring screen, PJ Jacobsen has just done a 2:09.441, the fastest lap of the race, and that was the 2:09.50 for Josh Herrin. So Josh Herrin's was the fastest time personally, but PJ just went the fastest lap of the race overall.
And he did all that out in the last sector, because to go 2:09.4, and again right now he's just done the fastest first split of the race, has PJ. So it's 2 tenths again. It was a second 2 laps ago across the line, then it was 0.9 this last time. But now they're into this second sector where Herrin has shown that he can pull away ever so slightly. The second sector ends after they come out of, I believe it's out of this turn, Greg, as they head down the hill towards turn 8, the braking area. Right now the second sector ends, and they should pop up on our screen. 30.7 for Herrin, 30.8 for PJ. So he gained 2 tenths and lost a tenth. So Herrin knows right now that he's about a second ahead. The team probably had a +1 on his board. And man, it just gives you so much motivation when you think you're starting to get away. Herrin's done a good job through the carousel there as well. And it looks to me, I'll get your opinion on it, it looks to me that's maybe a little over a second right now.
It does look like about that, and the fact that Herrin just went through sector 2, the fastest split of the race at that 30.7, Jason, is incredible with only a lap and a half to go. And it looks like the gap's getting larger at this moment. A 38.555 fastest sector 3 time of the race period for Josh Herrin to a 30.859, so another tenth of a second taken out of it. Jason, if Herrin continues on this way, we could see possibly a 2:09.1, 2:09.2, maybe even faster than that with 1 lap to go. As Herrin comes up the hill, he's going to take the white flag, and we'll get an idea of what his lead is. So he comes across the line, and it's going to be 2:09.175 for Josh Herrin with 1 lap to go. PJ goes 2:09.2 though, Jason.
Unreal.
They are flirting in the 2:08 range this late in the day with a low fuel load and Dunlop tires that have 11 laps on him.
And Herrin did a 2:09.1 to qualify on pole, and he's just done it coming to the white flag right now. So it tells you that change overnight for this team was all this guy needed to get himself comfortable on the front end of that bike, release that lever. He talked yesterday about, I just couldn't let go of the lever and carry any roll speed. I didn't have the stability underneath me. And they got together with the Dunlop techs last night. They discussed what they needed to do, and that's what's made this guy comfortable. And you can see the battle for third still raging on between the two teammates. I think that'll finish that way. I don't think Cam Peterson will go past Gagne. I think it'll stay right where he's at. But looking at this again, 30 flat PJ Jacobsen does in the first split to go fastest, but look at what Herrin's doing again, Greg.
Unbelievable, 30.5, the fastest sector 2 split of the race. It comes up on our timing screens in red. PJ Jacobsen loses 4 tenths of a second. There were doubters in the offseason about the decision from the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team. Is Josh Herrin committed to Medallia Superbike and the program? Did he deserve the Superbike ride? Of course he did. He won this team a national championship last year in Supersport. But Josh Herrin is proving all the doubters wrong. He deserved the ride, and he is so close to getting his first win of the season. And Jason, this would be his 9th win. Oh, look at the motorcycle moving around. He's pushing so hard. He wants to win this thing with the biggest gap possible. So here we go. It's Josh Herrin, the number 2 on the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati, the Panigale V4R. He's behind the bubble. Up the hill he comes. The checkered flag awaits for Josh Herrin, and he will take victory in race number 2 of Medallia Superbike here in MotoAmerica. And here come the pair of fresh and lean progressive Yamahas. Cameron Peterson with a bit of a move, but it's going to come across like that. Cameron Peterson in 4th, Jake Gagne in 3rd. And coming across the stripe, it's going to be Tony Elias over Matthew Skoltz. So Tony Elias will have 5th, and Jason, just a post-race note, fastest lap of the race, last lap, Josh Herrin, 209.025, nearly getting to the 208s, and that is one happy racer. How about that? The 2013 Superbike champion, Josh Herrin, wins 10 years later here at Road America.
Unreal. And you know, you said it. I mean, there was people that questioned fitness. I think he's come back looking fitter than he ever has. You know, I think he doubts himself or puts himself out in there, but now he's showing. And here you go, Greg. This is what I know you love. You love looking at the consistency of the lap times from lap 6 on. This kid threw it into the 209s and stayed there. And to put the pressure on and go 209.1 and 209 flat at the end, what a huge result. And really, for all 3 of these guys, Jake Gagne is going to find some solace, and he kind of a rescue job on the weekend. And for Tony Elias, a guy whose confidence has been down a lot, to come home 5th, I think is a good result as well.
You have to tip the cap to the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team. They had confidence in their national champion Supersport to put them on this motorcycle. There were a lot of options that were available during the winter months, and after the exit of Danilo Petrucci, Herrin gets it done. We'll return to find out from Josh Herrin how his race went for him in a moment.
Look at the energy of the celebrations for Josh Herrin getting that win after so many years. Another Superbike win, and the amazing thing, Roger, was what, the last 6 laps, every lap in the 209s, quicker, and on the very last lap, breaks the outright track record here. He had a moment in turn 13. He was pushing so hard, but he hung on to it and brought it home.
And, you know, I've seen Josh Herrin when he first started coming into racing in Supersport. I was there. This is the best ride I've ever seen out of Josh Herrin. In his whole career. I know he's a Superbike champ. I know he's won a lot of other titles, but to come here, have PJ pacing him every lap, having to go faster and faster and faster, and Josh kept opening, you know, kept putting his head down. And you know, one of the things Josh has worked on a lot of stuff this year, getting up to speed quicker, and I think that's helped. And then also, you know, the off-season training that he did. Yeah. He's lost a lot of weight, you know, that just helps you mentally, helps you physically, and he was able to, you know, when you train a lot and you're under these, and you do a lot of stuff like that, when you're under this pressure, it helps you be able to maintain your focus, to be able to keep putting these laps down.
Look at how much energy he has after the race just to celebrate. He is adrenaline's a beautiful thing, no question about that. Yeah, just absolutely phenomenal, and enjoying every moment of this as he should. PJ Jacobsen in 2nd, but at the end, Josh just broke him. Nothing PJ could do. For Jake Gagne, I mean, that's a crucial 3rd place in those points with Cameron Beaubier being out.
Yeah, I got the points lead back, so kind of a salvage job. And I want to say something about PJ as well. I mean, that was maybe one of PJ's best rides as well. I mean, he just was, you know, consistently in the 209s, just fighting as hard as they could, and, you know, breaking records and what they did this weekend. And PJ should be proud of that. He's going to be disappointed But
Yeah.
it was a heck of a ride.
Heck of a ride. And for Tony Elias, up into the top 5 for the first time this season and showing that speed that we know he's capable of. You know, for Jake Gagne, he came here last year and had a rough weekend with a 4th and a 5th. And this year he comes with a DNF, but rebounds with a podium to bring it back, especially with Cameron Beaubier having some issues. That's just going to put this championship again on its head. And wow, what an absolutely phenomenal race. Corey Alexander up into the 7th spot, another great ride for him. So, wow, just an absolutely fascinating ride. But I'll tell you what, Josh Herron with the cheesehead and the Packer colors, he did right by this Road America Wisconsin crowd. We got more to hear from. Let's get down to the podium.
Amazing. That was a hell of a head shake on that back.
Celebration from the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team as Josh Herron arrives in victory lane after an outstanding performance and a 2-second victory and setting the outright race lap record now here at Road America on the last lap of the race. And that is a well-deserved celebration, JP.
Yeah, there's no question. And, you know, what is that, our 3rd winner of the year now, or 4th winner of the year? So Josh Herron gets it done in 2 seconds over P.J. Jacobson, who just rode amazing as well that race. Gagne and Peterson get 3rd and 4th. Tony Elias, best result we've seen from him in a while, with Skoltz, Alexander, Escalante, and Ashton Yates rounding 9th. Hayden Gillum ended up rounding out the top 10.
Massive confidence boost for Tony Elias. Can't wait to see what he's going to start doing moving forward as well. We know that his strength is disrupting people's races on the brakes, so it's good to see a Suzuki up in the mix as well. Well, let's get right down to Hannah, who has our race winner after a spectacular race.
Josh Herron controlled that race from beginning to end. He did not put a wheel wrong. Josh, what gave you the confidence to win that race in such a dominant fashion?
Oh, that front tire worked good today, I'll tell you that. Man, I just, everybody over the years that has said I couldn't do it, that's what motivated me to do it, that's for sure. Thank you to the entire Warhorse HSBK Racing, Ducati New York team. Man, thank you to Ducati Corsa, Paolo Ciabatti, Bobby Scheck, Louis de Naples Sr., Geraldo Ferracci. Thank you to everybody for giving me the shot. They gave me the shot last year, and I think a lot of people didn't want to believe in me. We got it done, and we're here to win some races this year. I know this is a strong track for the Ducati, but we're just getting used to this thing, and I think we'll get stronger at the tracks that have our weaknesses. And right now, I'm just so excited to be up here and prove everybody wrong. It feels good, man. Racers, we have the best job in the world, but also some of the most stressful jobs in the world, and a lot of people don't understand that. And you know, it's hard listening to people say things about you, and you just want to go and defend yourself. So thank you to everybody for believing in me. Thank you for the huge turnout of fans today. It was so amazing seeing everybody out there. It was like 2006, my rookie year. It was packed out there. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to OnlyFans, Arai Helmets, Fresh and Lean, Insta360, Alpine Stars, everybody that's believed in me my whole career. And it feels good to, I think this is my 3rd Superbike brand to get a win on. So it's a cool feeling, and I'm excited for the next one.
Now that you've gotten this first win under your belt, do you feel kind of a sigh of relief? Do you feel like some of that pressure is off now?
No, we got to keep going. We got to act like it never happened, and just keep charging this hard, and just hope that more good things happen.
Congratulations, Josh Herron. 2nd place today goes to P.J. Jacobson, your second of the weekend. Are you feeling happy with your performance overall? Are you disappointed not to get that first win yet?
Yeah, you know, it's been a really good weekend and stuff. 2 seconds to walk out of here, you know, 2 podiums is great. You know, I can't thank the team enough. They did a great job this whole weekend. It's their kind of home track, home area. So thanks, Michael Kiley, the whole Tyler's Racing team. It's been great, and it's a privilege to be here riding the bike. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed because I had a really good, great morning warm-up, and the bike was a little different, you know, just because the heat and stuff in the race. So yeah, but you know, Josh rode a really good race. He was really consistent and didn't make any mistakes really, you know, and kind of a bummer for my teammate with whatever happened there. You know, he would have been there as well. So yeah, it's good to walk away with 2 seconds, and yeah, thanks to my team for the whole weekend.
A great points haul for P.J. Jacobson. Rounding out our podium today, Jake Gagne back on the box after quite an up and down weekend. Jake, back with the points lead, and you can tell the fans are really excited. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, after the weekend we've had, man, it feels good to be up here on the podium. Feels good to have a third place run. I mean, these guys out front were hauling. Congrats to Josh and PJ, and bummer for Cam, man, to have a situation like that. But yeah, we're leaving here with a podium. And again, thanks to the team, man. They worked hard. We fought through a lot of adversity this weekend, but at least we got to finish off the week on the podium and ready to roll onto the ridge. Thanks to Fresh and Lean, Progressive, Attack Performance, the whole team, Arai Helmets, Alpine Stars, keeping me safe, and yeah, everyone watching at home, thank you.
Good to see a smiling Jake Gagne once again this weekend, guys.
One plate, enjoys it. Josh Herron enjoying the spoils. We'll have more in a moment.
One of the things I overheard one of Josh Herron's crew say to him, flag to flag, man, at this track where the draft, even on these superbikes, can play such a big role, for him to get out front and stay out front. And there were times when first Cameron Beaubier and then PJ Jacobsen were right there, and he always was able to fend them off. The more that I think about it, the more I think you're spot on, man. That was an absolute world-class ride.
And it's really hard to lead a race from the front. Every time you come around, your pit board says plus 0.5.
Yeah.
And some guys, even with 0.5, would rather just say 0.0. So they're coming around here, and you're just pushing so hard, and you're pushing harder, and you're going faster, and it's still saying 0, and you're not pulling away.
Yep.
It's easy to make a mistake, and Josh just kept getting faster and faster under that pressure, and never made a mistake. You talk about a 4-mile track and doing 12 laps and never putting a wheel wrong, and and even getting up to speed quick. His first lap was terrific, and
yeah,
it looks like he loves that bike and looked really good today. And hopefully,
yep,
this is something he can carry this momentum on to the ridge and get himself maybe possibly start chipping away at some points.
Well, the interesting thing too was the spot that he was struggling on last half of the race yesterday with that the front tire choice was the carousel. He was losing a lot of ground there. Today, this is where he was excelling through that section of the track. Every time somebody got close, he just gapped them big time there. So he had a great read on what he needed to do. But the impressive thing to me was, yeah, it isn't super hot today, but it's warm enough. We could hear PJ talking about the bike changed a little bit. And yet he was able to just go faster and faster and faster as the tires were wearing down. Sure, the fuel's coming off a little bit and the bike gets a little more responsive, but still, that's pretty significant, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think also Josh is having fun.
Yeah.
And that's when he's at his best, when he's having fun, when you see him, he loves his crew. Now you see the updated points here. Now Jake Gagne's back up by 12. Josh Herron, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, 21 points back, and Matthew Skoltz, fourth, 30 points back.
It's going to certainly make this championship a lot more interesting, wasn't it? I mean, obviously, Jake had that lead coming in. It went away, and it was really close. It's gapped a little bit here, but still, just seeing the churn now that we have up at the top here has been pretty fascinating in terms of the points. But before we wrap things up here for the weekend, we want to remind everybody once again about the Nicky Hayden Memorial Ride.
Yeah, come ride with us this Friday, June 9th in Owensboro. We're going to start his ride from his statue at 6:09 p.m. We're going to stop halfway through at his at his grave, and then continue back to his statue and hang out at the lure. And we're going to make some donations before the ride and try to raise some money for Nicky's foundation, which we set up to continue his legacy. And if you want to check it out or donate, you can go check out his Nicky Hayden Foundation's Instagram or Facebook.
All right, an incredibly worthy cause, again, in remembrance of one of the greats, to be sure. So very special indeed. More to come here, certainly. And with that, we're going to send it back over to Jason Pridmore and Greg White.
Medallia Superbike coverage is brought to you by Medallia, the pioneer in customer and employee experience. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be.
Back here at MotoAmerica Superbikes at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Let's get right down to Hannah.
Upon his return to the MotoAmerica Superbike class, Tony Elias has secured his career best finish of the season this weekend. And Tony, I know that you said you wanted to come back and fight for the podium. And while it wasn't a fight for the podium today, it was a heck of a battle with Matthew Scholz. Tell us about it.
Yes, I pushed a lot, so much all the race, trying to hold Matthew and my teammate Richie. We had a great battle. At the end, I could beat both, and it's been a big effort. So nice to finish like this.
Looking ahead to Brainerd, what can be done between these two rounds in order to improve upon this result?
Well, today was my last dance, my last race. I want to thank Chris Ulrich, John Ulrich, Tim Hammer, everybody who supported me, work and helped me during this period. The return is not been like I was expecting, so thank you very much. I had fun the last one, and see you soon.
Tony Elias, it sounds like we may not be seeing him at the next round at the Ridge.
Jason, what do you know about this?
Know a little bit about it, and I've had some interesting conversations with Tony over the last week or so, and yeah, guy's a champion, and he put in a hell of a ride today.
So Tony retires on air. When we come back, we'll deal with this shocker and more from Road America.
Gear up to get fueled by Mission and get ready to eat like a king. Load those saddlebags with tasty products and fuel your flavor. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
I'm at this wing joint telling people that Geico has been offering savings for over 85 years. That's longer than the buffalo wing's been around.
Dozen wings.
And did you know that Geico offers motorcycle insurance? Oh, my lips are burning. No, my lips are actually burning.
Geico. Over 85 years of savings and service. See how much you could save at geico.com.
It's too hot. Oh, this is too hot, mate.
Welcome back to Road America, folks. An absolutely beautiful afternoon here. And it is time, as you can see from what's out on track, our final race of the stunning weekend of MotoAmerica Superbikes here at Road America. And this is Mission King of the Baggers. And they have been out and have been doing their sighting lap. And a bit of a start for a moment there. The number 33, Kyle Wyman, who won yesterday's race, ducking down into the pits in a possible issue here for the number 69 of Danny Eslick with some problems as well, as moved off of the actual start line and onto that sort of apron there. So some developments happening here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, and I think Kyle might have went back out, maybe just came right through, so might not have been too big of a problem, whatever it was. There's a certain amount of time you can get through pit lane, and he must have been able to come in and get back out in time.
Yeah, I think, if you come through and stop on the grid, you're stopped. If you continue through pit lane, you can go out and, get another lap in. So he wanted to check something, obviously, and came out here. But, for Danny Eslick, what a shame. Problems right on the grid. And that's got to be immensely frustrating for him, again, on the Nausicaa Extreme Performance Harley-Davidson Road Glide. And you're riding a Harley, you're here in Wisconsin. You want to have the absolute best week in your hand, and that's going to be frustrating for him. Kyle Wyman, this is one of those guys we were going to talk about anyway, so it didn't get the best qualifying, ended up 5th, but came through with marvelously strategic ride yesterday to bring that win home.
Yeah, just had a plan and played it to perfection in yesterday's race, even though he didn't qualify well. Even in the warm-up wasn't really that fast. And even in the practice and qualifiers, we haven't seen him kind of dominate like he has all year. But when the race came, boy, Kyle finds his way to the front. It doesn't really matter where he starts. He can figure it out.
Yeah, he's all in. Hayden Gillum, wicked quick in the morning warm-up. Bobby Fong, very fast qualifying. This race promises to be a doozy. 5 laps of the baggers coming at you here at Road America.
Back at Road America, Jason, race 2 highlights, and Josh Herron had a good one.
Yeah, he had a great start. That was pretty much it. I mean, Beaubier did go past him at one point down here into turn 5. This was at the very start of the race. Herron fought back from this one, and then it happened again a couple laps later. You can see he fought back going into turn 6, one corner after. Gagne was the guy on the move early. He went by both his teammate and Beaubier, only to see Beaubier go back past, and then Cameron started to chew into the gap, and this is where he let off the lever, went up underneath. Herron got the bike slowed down again at the apex. Herron 2 corners later fought back again, though. He wasn't going to do this without a fight, was he? But he didn't really have to, because right here, Beaubier all of a sudden pulls off. Maybe Herron thought that was it, but PJ Jacobson kept on pushing all the way to the finish line to push Herron into a 209 flat on his last lap. The 2 teammates kind of rolled around together, trying to salvage a weekend, get Gagne back in the point lead. You think Herron was letting off on the last lap? Not a chance. Without that little bobble, Greg, we see an 8 out of this man.
100%.
But 209 flat was what he did, and goes on and wins his first race for Ducati for the year.
Unbelievable. Back in action, his 9th of his career. Let's take a look at those standings. Very interesting. Josh Herron moves up the leaderboard into 3rd. So Gagne back to the top of the pile, now 12 over Beaubier with that 3rd place finish and Beaubier's exit. Matthew Skultz in 4th with PJ Jacobson climbing up the leaderboard as well. You can see Tony Elias there in 9th place in his last MotoAmerica Medallia Superbike race, as he said this segment before. What an exciting race weekend it has been. Congratulations to Josh Herron and his team. What an outstanding win. Can't wait to see you from Shelton, Washington, from the Ridge. For Hannah Lopa, Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. And for all of our MotoAmerica crew, thanks for checking out Medallia Superbike race action from Road America. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Wow. Well, 1, a staggering ride by Josh Herron. 2, a staggering announcement by Tony Elias.